to deliver today's occasional address.
It is a pleasure to call on our guest speaker, Catherine Walter, who has a distinguished career as a lawyer and a company director. Cathy's University of Melbourne education saw her earn first-class honours degrees in law, a Master of Laws and an MBA from Melbourne Business School. This preparation helped her to be part of the first cohort of female directors on major Australian listed company boards. Catherine's career has traversed roles as Managing Partner of the Melbourne office of Clayton Utz, Commissioner of the City of Melbourne, a Director of the NAB, ASX and Orica. She has served on the board of 25 other countries, including as Chairman of the Australian Synchrotron, Federation Square, Melbourne Genomics, Health Alliance and Financial Advisor Standards and Ethics Authority. She has an enduring association with the University of Melbourne through her past service as a member of the University Council, her 21-year tenure as Director of the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute of Medical Research, and her 18-year tenure as a Director of Melbourne Business School and President of the Melbourne Business School Alumni Council. She serves currently as a member of the Melbourne Law School Foundation Board. In 2016, Cathy was awarded the highest honour of the Melbourne Business School by being appointed an Honorary Fellow in recognition of her extraordinary service and contribution to the school and to the wider community in the fields of business and management. Remarkably, and this is just one example of her great generosity towards this institution, this will be Catherine's fourth occasion to address a University of Melbourne graduating class. We are delighted to see her back in the role. Please join me in welcoming Cathy Walter.
Presiding Chancellor, Mr Ross McPherson, Presiding Deputy Vice-Chancellor Graduate and Deputy Provost, Professor Carolyn Evans, members of the University of Melbourne Business School Board, the Academic Board, graduands, family and friends. Well, what a special day today is for all of us, but most particularly for you graduands, your family and friends. For some of you, it may feel like the end of a long and winding road, and for many of you, it will herald new career and life options, whether or not you know that now. To assist you navigate the options that will doubtless come your way in the years ahead, I thought it might assist to share 4 messages with you, enhanced, I hope, by 4 stories. Lesson 1. You are not solely your job title. Late last century, while still practising as a lawyer, I undertook a study for the Law Institute of Victoria as to why particularly female partners of law firms were leaving prematurely. It turned out that women were the first to call out what appeared to them to be a dysfunctional culture of crushing work pressure and corrosive internal competitiveness. They voted with their feet by leaving the firm in a desire to win back occupational satisfaction and enhanced work-life balance, which we now know to call work-life blend. Many of their male partners, however, stayed. Explanations ranged from economic necessity to pay mortgages and school fees, the glamour of the corner office, which then existed, and even sometimes the allure of their job title. So we all do know, at least intellectually, that our job title is not the totality of who we are. It is merely one factor in who we are. If your job is making you sad or constrained or sub-optimises your strengths, then do something about it. Look around and see if you can change the way your current job works. But if you can't do that, then find a job that plays to your strengths and that leaves you with time and energy for investment in family and friends, personal health, and revitalising recreational and community activities. And, ideally, make that job one for which you have passion, one which you believe in and which you want to have endure. Lesson 2. Suffering apparent career reverses gives us more options rather than fewer including the ability for reinvention. One of the joys of seniority I have found is the opportunity to mentor others formally and informally. Over the years, mentees have sought guidance, often when suffering career reverses or stagnation, and almost without exception, these journeys with mentees have opened up immensely more rewarding career and life opportunities. It's during these times that I've often commended to mentees the work of the University of Pennsylvania positive psychologist Martin Seligman. We discuss his 3 Ps of how not to react to reverses, namely with personalisation, pervasiveness and permanence. Let me distill each in turn. Personalisation. This leads us to the belief that a reverse is all our own fault. It never is. Pervasiveness. This leads us to the belief that the repercussions of the reverse will affect all aspects of our life. Again, this is simply not true, unless we seek to make it so. Permanence. This leads us to the belief that the reaction to the reverse or disaster will last forever, only if we let it. Many of you will know of Marty Seligman's work and his encouragement to keep the gratitude diary. Before sleeping, list, yes, literally, list, 3 things that bring you joy. It neurologically works, and one goes to sleep with a happy thought rather than a to-do list. I referred earlier to the concept of doing work for which you have passion. One of Marty Seligman's students, Angela Duckworth, researched the secret of success. Was it luck? Was it timing? Was it talent? Or was it something else? In the event, in her 2016 book of the same name, Duckworth concluded it was grit. And how did she define grit? Perhaps impacted by the alliterative power of the P initial, she herself created a 2P formula for grit. From personal experience, let me assure you, a little grit goes a long way in life, and that is to say, passion critically combined with persistence. Lesson 3, be a better listener than you are a talker. I confess this is one on which I'm still working. Perhaps there is an inverse relationship between the quality of one's talking and one's listening. In any event, last North American summer, I participated in the Stanford Design School boot camp. It was disconcertingly practical. All of us had a project of engaging in empathetic yet structured listening exercises with strangers whom we had to approach on the Stanford campus or in downtown Palo Alto. We were encouraged to understand the true motivation of the speaker and indeed the human tendency that exists for people to give the answer they expect the questioner wants to hear rather than the answer they actually believe. What we as students discovered was that asking questions to address what we were hearing in real time was immeasurably more effective than rattling through a list of preordained questions. We also learned to watch and wait and observe the relative comfort or discomfort of the speaker, and then to mirror in our questions the language cadence of the speaker and their personality. We also heard from a D School alumnus as to his journey in design thinking. Let me share his story with you. The alumnus was an executive at GE, charged with the responsibility of measuring the efficacy of a GE innovation in paediatric MRI technology. Got to pay close attention to this story, it gets complicated. He polled technologists who were using the innovation and received unanimous feedback that it was a great advance, producing sharper images. Buoyed up by his success, he thought he would follow up with a site visit to see the innovation in operation. He duly met with the relevant technologists on site, who again confirmed the enhanced quality and clarity of images. Having recently been to the D School boot camp, however, he thought he would just go a level deeper and visit child patients about to undergo repeated MRIs who were with their parents in the waiting room. Imagine his consternation when he was greeted by a cacophony of sound of wailing children, horrified at the prospect of undergoing yet more noisy and claustrophobic MRIs. This in turn was setting off a train of traumatised parents as it became clear to them that last-minute heavy sedation of their children would be required to enable the procedure to occur. The GE executive spoke of how instructive it was not to take as conclusive evidence the response of technicians to the innovation, but rather to see it as well through the eyes of the consumers. This insight led him to trial a prototype which rendered the MRI treatment as a world out of Disneyland, a complete set from the Pirates of the Caribbean, including down to the detail of the image within the actual MRI machine being a battle with the pirates. All that mechanical banging and crashing now made sense to the children. It had a purpose. It was only the pirates at work. Returning months later to follow up on the Pirates of the Caribbean installation, the GE executive found children couldn't wait to have their turn with the pirates in the Pirates of Caribbean MRI. Last-minute anaesthetics and hence interruption to process timing had dropped to all-time lows, and the combination of technical excellence with deep consumer acceptance optimised the innovation's effectiveness. A final short example from my antiquity might also assist. It is the famous interaction between Croesus, as in rich as Croesus, and the Delphic oracle. Croesus, the king of Lydia, a man of great wealth and stature, sought the advice of the Delphic oracle on whether he could defeat the Persians in battle. Her advice, as indeed the oracle was a woman, came to Croesus that if he made war on the Persians, he would destroy a great empire. So he made war, and a great empire was lost. The oracle was right, but Croesus had heard only what he wanted to hear. It was his empire that was lost, and not, as he had fondly hoped, the empire of the Persians. It is difficult for most of us to come upon an oracle who can give us the advice we seek. In any event, like Croesus, we might not understand the full import of what we are being told. We have to guard ourselves against hearing only an echo of our own longing and ambitions. The final lesson, number 4, it's simple and pithy. To whom much is given, graduands, much is expected. You are all beneficiaries of a world-class education at a world-class business school in this world-class university. You are the beneficiaries of others who have gone before you and who have themselves given back. And today's graduation comes with one ineluctable obligation. You must give back. There are many ways you can do this. You can be proud of your school. You can stay in touch with alumni and help each other and mentor others. You can give financially to your school. But the one thing you must really do is this: strive to have the sort of career and life that will make your school proud to call you its own. Thank you.